Welcome back to Faith and Heresy, where we uncover the forgotten meaning behind the scriptures and the stories that history tried to bury. This is a bit of a special episode today. It's part of the new mini parable series. There's a full playlist that'll pop up at the end if you want to binge all the parables from ancient religion. I don't know if anyone else is as weird as me that likes that stuff, but here you are. So, let's get on to today's episode, shall we? Sorry to interrupt your video. If you could just take a moment to like, comment, subscribe, really does help with the channel. Thanks for watching. Back to the video. Today, we're exploring one of the most famous parables Jesus ever told. A vineyard, violent tenants, a murdered son, but beneath the surface lies a deeper message. A confrontation with power, a mirror to religious authority, and a clue to Jesus' own identity. And some scholars believe it might be more relevant now than ever. The parable itself. In Matthew 21 and Luke 20, Jesus tells a parable of the wicked tenants. A landowner plants a vineyard and leases it to tenants before travelling abroad. At harvest time, he sends his servants to collect his share, but the tenants beat one, kill another, and stone the next. He sends more servants, they receive the same brutal treatment. Finally, the landowner sends his own son, thinking, "Surely they'll respect my son." But the tenants conspire. "This is the heir. Let's kill him and take his inheritance." And they do. Jesus then asks, "What will the owner of the vineyard do?" His audience at the time replies, "He'll bring those wretches to a wretched end." The Symbolism and Interpretation. At first glance, it sounds like a grim tale of betrayal, but to his audience, especially the chief priests and Pharisees, this was a theological Molotov cocktail. This story isn't abstract. It's packed with symbolism rooted in Jewish tradition. The vineyard, well, that's Israel, a well-known symbol from Isaiah 5, where God plants a vineyard, expecting justice, but instead finds bloodshed. The landowner, that would be God. The tenants, Israel's religious elites, the priests, scribe, and elders. The servants, they are the prophets, rejected and martyred. And the son, well, that could be Jesus himself. This interpretation was preserved in early church writings. Origen, Irenaeus, and later theologians like Augustine all saw it as a more clear allegory. Modern scholars like N.T. Wright, R.T. France, and Craig Evans largely agree, but they also nuance it. Here's the twist. Many scholars, including members of Jesus Seminar and historical Jesus scholars like Dominic, Crossan, believe that the core of this parable most likely did originate with Jesus. Why? Because of its subversive edge. It critiques power structures, it risks provoking violence, it's raw and unresolved, and most importantly, it fits Jesus' broader pattern, using parables to confront authority and upend religious expectations. A redacted ending and later additions. But not everything in the parable may be original. Some scholars argue that the violent ending, where the owner brings destruction upon the tenants and replaces them, might be a later addition by earlier Christian communities. Why? Well, that's because it fits too neatly with post-70 CE Christian theology. After destruction of the Second Temple, the idea that God punishes Israel and gives the vineyard to Gentile Christians became a powerful narrative at the time. Also, the clear identification of Jesus as the Son while foreshadowed is thought by some to be a Christological development. Added as belief in Jesus' divine sonship became central. The earlier version of the parable may have simply been a harsh critique of temple leadership and the prophetic tradition of being rejected by power. This means the original parable may not have ended with revenge or replacement. It may have ended uncomfortably and open-ended. Then and now. Let's step back. This parable isn't just about ancient Israel. It's not just a gotcha aimed at the Pharisees. It's a reflection, a mirror held up to any religious system that rejects truth in favour of control. So here's the haunting question. Could this parable apply to our world now? To our institutions, to our churches? What happens when religion becomes more about protecting power than proclaiming truth? What if the tenants today are not ancient Pharisees, but modern authority who silent dissent, ignore prophets, and crucify what they cannot control? It's not comfortable, but that's exactly why Jesus told it. Gnostic echoes and esoteric meanings. In some early Christian and Gnostic texts, like the Gospel of Thomas, this parable echoes with even deeper resonance. There, the Son isn't just a messianic figure, he represents gnosis, divine knowledge sent into a world that fears the truth. The vineyard becomes the cosmos, the tenants, the rulers of this world, archons, blind powers that resist awakening, and the murdered son of the Logos, silenced by ignorance. The view turns the parable into a cosmic myth, a story of light entering darkness and being rejected. And again, the question isn't just what did they do, it became what are we doing now? Final reflections. So was this parable really told by Jesus? Most likely yes. Its bite, its bravery, its prophetic tone, it all fits the Jesus we met in the Gospels, especially the Jesus who stormed the temple and challenged the hierarchy. But the version we have today, it's shaped by the church, by trauma, by theology, and by time. It still speaks, but we must listen carefully. The parable of the wicked tenants isn't safe. It never was. It doesn't just ask us to admire the son, it asks, would we have killed him too? And worse, would we still? Thanks for watching Faith and Heresy. If you want more long-form breakdowns of parables, Gnostic texts, or hidden scripture, subscribe and join the conversation below in the comments. I reply to every single one of them. And remember, not every parable comforts. Some were meant to start fires.